Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Gardening Talks featuring Amulyaboondh. Today, we will be understanding the composition of soil, or what we call it as soil conditioning. And to explain it to us and answer some very interesting questions about soil, we have Dr. Aarti Bhandare joining us today. Hello, Aarti, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm fine. Thank you for having me here.
Uh, you're welcome. Welcome to the uh, Gardening Talks with Tyres. And we are so pleased to have you with us today.
Same here.
So, Aarti is the founder of an NGO called Amulyaboondh Foundation, and she's been working for water conservation and sustainable living for quite some time now. And she shares a lot about sustainable practices on her Instagram page. You can go and check it out. It's called Amulyaboondh. The link is in the description box below. And so, before we go on to the questions, Aarti, we would like to know a little about yourself and your journey into sustainability.
I'd love to do that. Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me over because most of the times when there are such talks, they call eminent personalities. But I can assure you there are so many people working behind the curtain, maybe just like me, who have very little knowledge, but we are applying all that knowledge into sustainable living. So, in short, about me is I don't want to give any sad story or a victim story. Just that in 2016, my mother-in-law suffered from breast cancer. She had to go through a very painful treatment, and when I went to introspect, I realized that she has been a very good woman or a good human being all her life. She's not been eating any inorganic or chemical stuff, nothing like that. And all of us in the family have been doing more or less than what she does. And she suffered from cancer. So it made me think what could be the possible causes for it. Then I realized the immortality of plastic, the way we are killing soil, the way we are eating pesticide laden food in the name of God, just taking God's name and we are eating it. So maybe some unwanted thing could have leached into her body and given rise to that cancerous cell and its proliferation. That's when I actually began sustainable living. And I first started with removing all the chemical fertilizers or growth fertilizers from my house. I decided that even if the plants die, it's okay, but I'm not going to feed them with chemicals whatsoever. So that's in short about me, and I'm a dentist. Maybe after seeing my shiny teeth, you will know. But soil and sustainable living and eco-friendly living tempted me more than beautiful teeth or a good paying job at a dental office. So that's in short about me.
Okay, that's an inspiring story. Yeah, we consciously or unconsciously consume a lot of chemicals that do deteriorate our health in one way or the other. And for some, it affects more than others. So it's always wise to be on the healthier side.
Yes.
So let's go on to the questions for today. Our first question is, what does soil comprise of?
Okay. So if you ask me in layman terms, I can go about speaking about soil for hours together. For the next 10 programs of yours, I can just speak about soil. That's how I'm connected with soil. So, but for the
Amazing.
viewers, I don't want to be that. And I want to really explain soil of how I've made notes and how I have written my journey through these notes. So, see, if you like life, you love soil. There are a host of small, medium, and large organisms that live in soil, including birds, mammals, insects. Considering that just 1 teaspoon of soil has as many bacteria or more the amount of microorganisms that are living in the whole planet, I think soil is a topic that we should discuss more and we should protect more. When we talk about a country, we say teri mitti ki khushbu. We don't say tere perfume ki khushbu. We say be grounded, we say be down to earth, we say teri mitti mein mil jawa. Okay, so we are referring to soil in so many different ways. There should be some connection why we are talking of the essence of life and we are connecting it with soil. So soil is not about the 5 key ingredients like the gas, water, or the minerals or the organic content or the organisms living in it. We should know that it literally has life. And how you would not try to hurt anything which has life. Maybe if you start believing that soil is not dead and it is just a living organism but cannot speak, cannot express, then we will start to protect soil more. So depending on the mineral content in the soil, we call it clay, silt, or sand. So most of us just talk about silt, we talk about clay, we talk about sand, but we do not know the difference. So the amount of these which is present in the soil ultimately defines the soil texture. Now, what is the importance of soil? Everybody knows. If I ask you the importance of soil, they'll say it is a growth media, okay, to grow plants. But do we know that the greatest of the all ecosystem services provided by the soil is the retention of water? Imagine if there was no soil and rain would fall. It would not leach inside. It would not percolate inside. There would be no soil. It would be desert. Our planet would be just a rocky desert. Soil stores and provides water for plants. It prevents floods by transferring water slowly to the streams. They filter and remediate pollutants. They cycle and recycle nutrients and waste, which is totally my topic, transforming them into biologically available forms. Soils provide habitat for a large diversity of life. So I think even survival here, or the reason why we are on the planet, is because of the soil. That's the connection of the soil. That is in short about soil. We all know that soil comes in various colors. We like to play in soil. It is a growth media. We need NPK for soil, whatever. But most of us do not know the essence of soil, that it is living. And I'm saying it again and again and again because Madras High Court has given living status for nature. So nature is living like us, like human beings. And the 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 thing which holds the top spot is the soil. So you must have heard, when we go to the market, we say NPK de do bhaiya. The plants are not growing in my soil. I need NPK, nitrogen,
Yes.
phosphorus, potassium. These are the main things apart from sulfur, magnesium, copper, whatever other macro and micronutrients. These are the main three things present in the soil. So if you're asking a small kid to write about soil, he will probably write about the minerals present, the water present, the color of the soil. But
Hmm.
this is basically what the soil is comprised of.
Yeah. Okay. That was a very detailed explanation. Thank you. So, moving on to our next question. What is organic or living soil?
Yes. Okay. So
Interesting.
you can see the excitement of my on my face, so I have written it down. So see,
Yeah.
I wanted to actually show you the living soil. It is, I have it, and people actually come home to buy that soil from me.
Oh, wow.
I cannot sell the soil because I'm a non-profit organization, but they actually bribe me with, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. You please,
Hmm.
I'll cook this for you, I'll cook this. Give me soil. And I have not purchased soil from Amazon or got it from anywhere till now. In my 8 years of gardening experience, I'm nowhere here. But I have
Uh-huh.
never purchased soil or never got from anywhere or dug any part of land, dug any part of the earth. No, I have just made my own soil. Okay. So living soil, even if you ask a very small kid to tell me which soil is better, it has been raining in Belgaum, Karnataka, and even Maharashtra and other parts very heavily. I had kept black soil which I had harvested, and also the regular soil which our gardeners got for us, saying that this is the best quality soil to show you. But it's
Hmm.
so badly drenched that I couldn't show you, and I'll share it in the photographs once the soil is dry. So when you
Okay,
see
sure.
soil, okay, you should be without any knowledge, prior knowledge of gardening or agriculture. You should be able to say this is better or this is better. So
Hmm.
even an uneducated person or an amateur who does not know the G of gardening also will tell you, okay, yes, this is living soil. And what exactly means living soil is a community of microorganisms breaking down into organic matter, which in turn provides valuable nutrition. So how you understand that? It is, it smells mitti ki khushbu again.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is not, yes, it is not dry. You just feel like having it, holding it in your hand. It's quite
Hmm.
porous, it's not compact, it's not dense. It
Hmm.
smells like petrichor, freshly, fresh water on land after the first rain.
First
When
rain,
you
yes.
harvest compost, yeah, and blackish, more the dark color, they say more organic contents in it. So that
Okay.
is living soil. You can see so many microorganisms growing underneath it. So you take 1 teaspoon of soil, put it under the microscope, you'll see a lot of organisms. But
Hmm.
don't even have to take a microscope. Just scoop out, dig out one handful of soil. You'll see so many microorganisms in it without, even using a microscope, or so many organisms. That is
Uh-huh.
living soil. As
Okay.
against the soil which you purchase from outside, which is dry, which you feel like sending to the hospital for treatment. You feel no, the soil lacks a lot of things, and you don't need to be a gardener, you don't need to be a BSc MSc agriculture for it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was building my garden, my indoor garden, the agriculturist or the contractor kept saying her methods are wrong, her methods are wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
he I could tell by the soil that he's got that this is not the soil for our plants. And sure enough, that garden didn't survive the one which he had built. So I dug everything out. I made the soil living by putting, I'll come to it about how you can put a lot of organic contents into the soil and make
Mm-hmm.
it living. So you don't need it's not rocket science. Living soil is a combination of organic material like compost, cocoa peat moss, trees or a barks or manure, vermicasting. So there is one method called as yugal culture method. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the trees, the barks, twigs which are broken, which we usually throw out. They cut
Yes.
it, they chop it, they layer
Uh-huh.
your bed with it, your
Okay.
plant bed, and they
Garden
put
bed.
compost. They put garden bed. They put compost. They put peat moss. They put organic content, dry leaves, everything, and then they plant your whichever sapling, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Over time it starts to decompose. Imagine that is what type of soil will be generated after 30 to 40 days, or slow leaching of nutrients into the soil. So that is living soil. You just cannot have. So there, if I just give you what do you say, vanilla ice cream plain, will you like it more, or if I give you a layer of chocolate and then maybe strawberry and then uske upar some nuts, some jelly and some wafer, you like that better, right?
Yeah, of course.
Similar to soil.
Different
It needs
flavors.
to, yes, it needs to have a lot of organic content, and lot of activity should be going on in the soil. It shouldn't be just dead or going with the flow kind of a thing. So that's living soil for me.
Okay, okay. Very well explained. I love the way the metaphor you used with ice cream.
Yes.
Really explains a lot. Okay, so let's take the third question. What causes harm to soil, and how
Yeah.
does soil deteriorate?
Yeah. So first, I'd also like to mention about my best friend, and those are
Mhm.
not Pinky, Sita, Geeta, or anybody. Those are the earthworms. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Earthworms have been a farmer's best friend, and I'm proud to say that I'm a natural gardener, a natural farmer.
Mhm.
So, first when we came to live here, this is my own story, so I'm not taking anything from outside. I'm just telling you what I have gone experienced. So, when we
Yes.
came here, my son, who was in standard fifth, they got a project said in a jar you should collect Gaurang earthworms. Gaurang are Indian variety earthworms with the purple striations. Okay,
Okay.
and we searched a lot. We searched. He could not find. They were
Oh,
composting microorganisms, Isina fetida, those red color tiger earthworms that you call. Okay,
yes.
Isina fetida or wiggly worms. But there was not a single Gaurang or Indian variety earthworm. And then when we came to the area, we realized that they had spoiled the soil by
Uh-huh.
putting a lot of chemical fertilizers. So किसी ने बोला ये खरीदो market से, it is good, without even checking what is the concentration, what it contains. They have sprayed. There was not a single bird, that chimney, what we call sparrow. There were other birds, but there was not a single sparrow here when we came. And this is a true story. Okay, any news
Okay.
channel can pick it up, to get a detail on it. There was not a single thing. And then I used this cow dung based products, which I will come to later. And after
Mhm.
7 applications, today I breed earthworms also, and people even take earthworms from me in a coconut shell or a jar, and they breed it in their own house.
Wow.
Earthworms are the biggest, the bestest friends human beings can ever have. They don't
Yes.
demand anything. They just keep doing their
Uh-huh.
work. They eat waste. They don't give a menu card, or they say, oh, I want this, I want that. No, आप उनको कुछ भी कचरा दे दो. They are
Mhm.
eating it, they're decomposing it, and they're continuously working. They're creating burrows in our soil,
Mhm.
increasing the exchange of nutrients. They are vermicastings. किसी का potty also comes to use. That is the earthworms. Earthworm
Yeah.
castings are the best for the soil. So,
Uh-huh.
what has deteriorated the soil then? Just the opposite of what I said. So, just because you want, in my house, I grow all indigenous varieties or Indian type of trees, which are native to Indian origin. But some people always want something exotic, orchids and all of. I don't say you shouldn't grow it. Definitely, you grow it, but To maintain those type of plants, you have to add a lot of things to your soil. It is not an easy process. You just cannot mix cocoa peat or anything and grow. So more difficult the plant, all the things you have to add in the soil. Now because the plant shouldn't turn yellow or they should not have any diseases, somebody tells you get this pesticides from the market.
Mm-hmm.
Pesticides are good for once, I may say pesticides may be good, but when added in a good quantity. You cannot eat, proteins are good for the body, right? But you cannot eat a lot of proteins. When you eat a
Yes.
lot of proteins, yeah, what happens we know very well. So pesticides are not good, but you can still give them the benefit of the doubt that it may kill the pests on the plants. But what we do, we or zada. We apply a lot of makeup to look beautiful. When we remove the makeup, it's the original face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we do, we try to use a lot of pesticides in the
Mm-hmm.
pursuit to make the garden look manicured. And we do all these things. We spoil the soil. We do not add any compost or any living material or any organic material into the soil. Why? Because people say that when we make compost, the house smells. Can I ask you a question? Have you ever prepared compost in your house?
No. And this was the only reason I was scared that the house would smell.
And I caught you right because I have 12 200-liter barrels in my house.
Wow.
Nobody will know that there is a compost bin. Nobody will know that it is compost.
Uh-huh.
Because when you do something properly, I'm sure you cook biryani.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
When you add the correct amount of meat and the rice, the kesar, and you
Mm-hmm.
add the correct type of spices, does the biryani taste bad or it tastes good?
It tastes better.
Yes. Now, suppose you add more spices, you'd add very less uncooked meat. Maybe you don't add the good quality of rice, but you put a lot of effort, but your ingredients are wrong and the way of doing it is wrong. How will the
Yeah.
biryani taste? Bad.
Bad.
The
Very
same
bad.
thing is with Yes, the same thing is with compost. And compost is much easier than biryani, not of many ingredients. And so people want to buy everything ready made. Okay,
Yes.
they want to dig the soil very often. They don't want to mulch the soil because they don't want to mulch the garden. They want to have lawn, knowing
Yes.
that lawns take a lot of water. They don't want to grow Indian varieties. Now when a guest comes to my house, they want to show off their garden. If even if there is one piece of dry leaf, they say remove it because it does not look good. But once you know the advantages of this, so how the soil is deteriorating is most important. Use of or exuberant exploitation of pesticides, sometimes overgrazing, sometimes wrong type of growing plants in the wrong way, and not adding organic content to the soil. And the biggest is this chemical fertilizer or growth fertilizers and the pesticides. थोड़ा सा कुछ मिर्ची को हो गया, कड़ी पत्ता को हो गया, they'll get a spray. The best thing is just put khatta uh, curd, what you call,
Or curd.
sour, very, very sour curd. Keep it for 2 days in the sun. Let it
Uh-huh.
ferment better, and then you dilute it with water. And वो खट्टा जो दही है, you put it to your curry plant, and tell me if it improves the condition or no. But no, people will not have time to make curd, keep it in the sun. Instead, a bottle of pesticide is easier, just spray on it. You don't
Yes.
realize that when you have sprayed this pesticide on the plant, it has leached into the soil also. And your soil, so one apple spoils the entire basket of fruit, is what they say. Just like that.
Yes.
These are,
Okay.
I think, modernization has spoiled. Earlier, if you realize, India was a totally cow based farming, practitioner, I call it that.
Yes.
They used to
Uh-huh.
use cow dung for everything. They used to use gomutra for everything. I use it. But
Mm-hmm.
currently, farmer does not have time. Terrace gardeners, we don't have time. I have a lot of time, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I try all these methods, but most people do not have time. Now, because you said about soil degradation, I will tell you, soil erosion is the most common cause. When you see it's raining, you see the soil, getting eroded from
Draining
your
off.
garden.
Yes.
Yes. The best thing to do here is give a good layer of mulch over it.
Mm-hmm.
And mulching simply is either you can use polypropylene plastic, which most agriculturists use, or the best is you can use dry leaves, you can use half done compost, you can use straw, grass, live mulching by growing cover over it like grass or clover, just grow over it.
Mhm.
The only thing is the aesthetics of the garden maar kha jata hai. So people say, no, we don't want it. Soil
Mm,
erosion, biggest cause of soil degradation.
yes.
So if you mulch your garden, if you mulch your pots, the soil should, abhi hum log kapde pehna hai na, however hot or cold it is, we always wear clothes. Why? We have to cover our body, we have to protect our body. Soil also is a living thing. It has to be protected all the time. You can never keep it open to
Yeah,
anything.
that's a
Lekin
very
mulch,
good example.
but I have been speaking about mulching for quite a long time now, but people say, nahi, nahi, garden acha nahi dikhega. We have guests in the evening. So I said, acha nahi
Oh,
dikhega, but acha banega. See, it's going to function well. Let it not look good to these eyes. It's okay. But people will
yeah.
not mulch. There's one more. There are many other reasons for, just a second.
Hmm.
Okay. I told you about earthworms. I told you about composting. I told you about this. Yeah. Soil degradation causes is, again, when you use a lot of chemicals, salination and desertification will happen, erosion, and when you do overgrazing, extensive use of chemicals, extensive use of pesticides, fertilizers, everything. Now, how I do, you may say, then what do you do? How does your soil does not get degraded? I have attended a program by Guruji Subhash Palekar, Padma Shri Guruji Subhash Palekar, who's known as the father of not organic but natural farming. So
Hmm.
organic farming also gives a percentage like 16 to 17 percentage के pesticides आप वो allow करते हैं. Natural means
Okay.
he says 0%. So when I went for training and I said, Guruji Mala, I want to learn organic farming for you. He said, no, I don't teach organic farming. So
Oh,
I said, but you are the father of organic farming. He said, no, I'm the father of natural farming.
natural
Natural
farming.
means zero or minus. You are not supposed to use even 1% of. And I was very sure that, some of them make tall claims and nothing really happens. He said, you try this. 7 applications of Jivamrut. Now, what is Jivamrut? The name itself says Jeev and Amrut. Jeev means life and Amrut
Hmm.
means elixir. Okay. So he said 7 applications of this Jivamrut and patience, and just see what happens to your soil. All that you needed was desi gai. It's again a
Hmm.
great way of protecting and increasing the population of desi gai. Nowadays, you see that HF and Jersey cows because they produce a lot of milk.
Uh-huh.
But he said you should go for a desi gai. I kept asking him, what if there is a cross? He said, no, I want a pure desi gai.
No
So
crossbreed
on a
also.
night, yes, not a crossbreed. And see, do we settle for lipsticks or makeup which are a little less quality than which are the big makeup brands? I don't know because I don't wear makeup. But will you settle for something less than we don't, right? Then हम लोग
Yes.
क्यों plans के लिए we say ठीक है ये 17 का 80 में मिल गया तो no we'll take a lesser so he said no only desi. So you will not believe रात को 8:30 बजे बुट्टी लेके I was searching on the streets the cows which have a hump and which have those long ears. He even told us
Mhm.
how to identify Indian breed. तो मैं बुट्टी लेके पीछे गई थी गाय के कि please give me some cow dung. और जैसे that cow dropped the dung, I collected it. Then I collected gomutra from one of the gaushalas which had pure ghee cows. And I
Uh-huh.
made it. I thought it was so difficult to make Jivamrut. It takes 3 days, but I made it.
Mhm.
First time I was really bored. Second time I really didn't want to do it because the smell of cow dung. The third
Mhm.
time I said, okay, push. I told my husband, just push me to do it this time. Four, five, six, and seventh application. On the seventh application, I was making Jivamrut with my eyes closed
Uh-huh.
without doing this. I knew exactly what to add, how to add. And now my 12-year-old son is an expert in making Jivamrut. He'll tell you, bring it on. Cow dung, get it, I'll make it.
Wow. Yeah, I've seen
Jivamrut,
some amazing reels that he
videos.
makes. He's a
Yes,
pro
yes. He
and a
has
lot
seen
of
not
people
only
for
me,
his age.
yes, and he's seen the effects of it. Okay, he's seen. The second one is Gaukrupa Amrutam. Again, it has been patented by Gopal Bhai Sutaria. I also call him Guruji Gopal Bhai Sutaria because he was a diamond merchant from Surat. And one day he realized that Indian cows are being exploited for milk. Indian cows have been exploited for a lot of purposes, and we are losing the Indian variety to some other countries, and we are banking on these Jersey and HF cows, whose milk is absolutely not good for us as much as the Indian cow's milk. We all know it. And I'm a vegan for the same reason that cows have been really harassed. So I'm a vegan. I don't use any animal product. So
Uh-huh.
they have researched and formulated a product called as Gau Krupa Amrutam. Again, Amrut means elixir, Gau Krupa Amrutam. And that does not have a shelf life. If you take 1 liter of the concentrate, you can make 100 liters. Take 1 liter, make 100 liters. So it's like jamun, like virzan hum log jo bolte hain. Jaise dahi, we take 1 teaspoon and we can make
Yes.
an entire 1 liter milk into dahi the next day. Same thing. And the
Uh-huh.
application of it, you may not believe, but if you have seen on my page, the Malabar spinach, the size of the Malabar spinach is this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when I got the sapling, the the plants, the leaves are very small, and then this is the say. I can send you the reel on this very link, and that's because it increases the quality of the soil. It does not act on the plants. Jivamrut also does not act on the plants. We say
Okay.
we want to. Now you spoke about soil conditioning in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. Here we are not trying to improve the quality of the plant. Once the quality of the soil is good, the quality of the plant automatically improves. So
Yes.
during COVID they said immunity badhao. They didn't say chiko mat, khaso mat. Immunity badhao. They said eat awla, they eat falana ye. Because once immunity increases, automatically your health increase gets better.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the third and the most important is Kalki, which has been recently gone for patenting. This is from
Mm-hmm.
a person by name Mr. Uh, I don't remember his name, I'm sorry, but he's from Vengurla, Sindhudurg or Vengurla. And his bioculture has shown excellent results, and that is also again a cow dung based product. Indian cows dung based product. No chemicals, no fertilizers. But sadly, people don't realize this because इसमें थोड़ा सा मेहनत लगता है, ये बनाना पड़ता है, 3 दिन उसको घोलना पड़ता है, 7 days वेट करना पड़ता है, फर्मेंट करना पड़ता है, यू हैव टू स्ट्रेन इट, यू हैव टू स्टोर इट, यू हैव टू स्प्रे इट. तो पीपल विल से नहीं चाहिए झंझट, दे गो टू अ शॉप, जैसे भैया केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर दे दो.
Yes.
Then how can you expect that soil will not get degraded?
Yeah. Everything
Got
that
the
goes
answer
into
to
the
your
soil. Yes. Yes,
yes.
yes, yes. Very detailed and very nicely explained. So let's go on to the next question. What organic matter can be added to soil to bring it back to life? अब तो खराब कर दिया soil को, अब क्या करें?
Yes, yes. So first is earthworms. और earthworms को कैसे ऐड करना है? Simple
Mhm.
method I will tell you, जो मैंने practice किया था. So when you make जीवामृत or you
Okay.
use some जीवामृत in subtle form or diluted form in your compost bin, या फिर compost bin भी छोड़ दो. Dry leaves we have in our garden a lot. तो उनको
Yes.
जलाने के बजाय you keep the dry leaves in a corner, stack it up, उस पर
Mm-hmm.
पानी छिड़को, let it have moisture, and then just put some a liter or two of this जीवामृत. अगर आपके पास जीवामृत नहीं है, it's okay, no problem. You
Mm-hmm.
can just put pure Indian breed cow dung,
Okay.
slurry, mix करो पानी में, and just cover it with a burlap bag. Keep it in a shady place, not in extreme sunlight. 60-70 days में you will have to see earthworms. अगर नहीं दिखे तो I will challenge that person. बिकॉज मैंने भी अर्थवर्म्स ऐसे रेडी किए, बिकॉज गुरुजी सेज कि काउडंग में ही होते हैं ये अर्थवर्म्स. शेन किडी एंड काउडंग, these are two things which he has even mentioned in his book. Or another method is dig a pit, like around 1.5-2 feet dig करो pit और काउडंग डालो उसमें, fresh काउडंग, and cover it.
Okay.
And when you retrieve the soil after 30-40 days, when you try to remove, you will find cow dung. All cow dung based products में you will see earthworms. So
Mm-hmm.
organic content आप उसमें earthworms डालेंगे तो it will start burrowing up and down. Wormy castings जो
Mm-hmm.
potty होता है worms का, organic content. और my favorite, I think जिसके लिए मैंने जन्म लिया है, is composting.
Uh-huh.
I really feel I have taken birth for composting now, because I hear composting anywhere and my ears go like this. Did somebody say compost?
Uh-huh.
तो घर में जो वेस्ट होता है, why do you have to
Yes.
throw it in the landfill? Okay,
Yeah.
make compost out of it. उसके लिए कुछ भी नहीं लगता. You just need carbon, that is dry leaves or coco peat. You need your kitchen waste and you need a starter. आप starter नहीं भी डालोगे तो it's okay. and you need time. 40-50 days के अंदर compost बन जाएगा. It smells lovely. It is so addictive. It's like a nasha, literally like a nasha, you know. In
Mm-hmm.
Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, Katrina Kaif says nasha is a negative word. Same
Uh-huh.
meditation. So composting is just like meditation. So
Yes, yes. I've
with
heard a lot of
yes,
people say, when you put your hands in that compost, in that soil,
oh,
it releases hormones that make you
yes,
feel good.
yes. So when I fight with my husband, I go to my compost bin,
Uh,
and
to
then I
feel
come
good.
back like I feel good. Okay.
Yeah,
So that is the power of that organic content. जो अगर human beings के में it can show so much effect. Imagine
yeah,
what will happen when we put that into the soil.
yes.
So I can show you pictures right now in my house. Once it stops raining, I will show you regular land. और जो
Mm-hmm.
परसों हम लोगों ने वो dig करके we had compost we had made, we mixed
Mm-hmm.
it with the earlier soil, सब mix करके. I'll show you the color. You with your eyes closed, sitting across this, you may not even be able to smell it, but you will say, yeah, yeah, this is living soil.
Uh-huh.
So composting dalo, earthworms, then mulching your garden over time. When the mulch starts decomposing, it will leach minerals and nutrients into the soil.
Mm-hmm.
वो भी आप कर सकते हो.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for all the amazing tips. So let's go on to our next question. What is the chop and drop method of gardening and the importance of mulch?
Yeah, ये भी I'm practicing a lot. So
Uh-huh.
again coming back to Subhash Palekar natural farming. So गुरुजी हमेशा बोलते कि कोई भी चीज वेस्ट नहीं है. तो what we
Mm-hmm.
do, हम लोग prune करते हैं. We are cutting branches of trees, या फिर whenever it rains branches गिर जाते हैं, या some trees grow a lot, we have to chop the parts. We take
Mm-hmm.
it and we put it in the compost bin. लेकिन what everybody says, cut करो, chop and just drop it. Chop
Hmm.
करो, drop करो. It will
Okay.
act as mulch also,
Oh,
and
okay.
it will release the nutrients also. It will cover the weeds also. Over time वो decompose भी हो जाएगा. Now have you gone to any forest? Yeah, of course we have gone for trekking and all that thing, hiking and all that. हम लोग जब forest में जाते हैं, does nature, mother nature have a spade in her hand?
No.
No. So trees अपने आप गिर
Dead
जाते हैं, मर
body.
जाते
Yes.
हैं.
Huh.
Everything automatically falls. Chop हो जाते हैं, drop हो जाते हैं. Nobody
Huh.
clears it. Nobody makes a bund there. Nobody goes and puts water
Yes.
there. नहीं. So least human intervention. Chop and drop method. I will just read what I have written about chop and drop because मैं practice करती हूँ.
Mm-hmm.
Just drop the foliage on the ground. The plant remains. Break down into compost right at the soil level. So when you're preparing your garden for the next season, the cut plants are already decomposed. The roots will still stay beneath the soil. Okay. ये चॉप एंड ड्रॉप के बाद भी यू कैन ऐड अ थिन लेयर ऑफ मल्च. मल्च मतलब ड्राई
Okay.
लीव्स आप ऐड कर सकते हो. If you
Mm-hmm.
want, again, you can add cow manure, horse manure, chicken manure, goat manure. So I have tried goat and cow. Cow works
Okay.
best. Cow
Mm-hmm.
manure nahi hai to you can add goat manure. That also works. Plus,
Okay.
when you cover with mulch, ये जो chopped material है, it will not fly away with the wind. सोचो कितना
Yeah.
material is decomposing right there and it is going right back into the soil.
Yeah.
And it's not even hard work. Cut, drop, cut, drop,
Huh.
cut, drop. That's it. You just have to be okay with the garden looking haphazard or unaesthetic, unmanicured.
Yeah. That's how it is in the nature.
Yes,
Natural.
yes,
Okay. Now I understand why it's called natural farming.
yes. Chop and drop
Yeah.
nature applicating methods. Yes.
Yes.
Now you can chop and drop everything. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I want to tell one more thing. You can chop and drop everything, whatever. But agar pata chale ki the plant has some pest or some disease hai, so it's better
Uh-huh.
to chop it off and put it in the hot compost pile where the pests will be killed because of high temperature in the compost bin. And अगर
Okay.
आप chop करते वक्त you find that there is a seed or something, वो फिर से अगर आप chop करेंगे, drop करेंगे, तो the seedling may start to sprout again. तो just
Mm-hmm.
be careful about these things. Otherwise आप सब कुछ chop करके drop कर सकते हैं.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that explanation. Okay. I'll go. So this takes us to the last question for today.
Yeah.
Is reporting needed? If
Yeah.
yes, when and what is the method of doing it?
So, I specifically wanted to answer this question because I've been married for 14 years and I started
Mhm.
gardening just 8 years ago. Uske pehle my mother-in-law was a staunch fan of gardening. So she
Uh-huh.
had 4 or 5 gardeners to help her. She used to spend more time in the garden than in the kitchen. So garden and puja ghar. Okay.
Okay.
That was her life. So any new plant, she'll say, I want the cutting. She was that type. So I
Uh-huh.
realized that these Malis, no offense to any gardeners, but they used to come and they used to fool her. Ki Vaini, soil is dead. जैसे we come and
Oh.
say कि this person is dead and we say बहुत अच्छा इंसान था. So she used to come and say कि soil is dead and then she used to say अरे चांगली माती होती. Okay, so now what? She used to say टिप्पर भरून माती आणतो. I used to charge her a lot, 3,000, 4,000, जो मुंह में आया. And my
Uh-huh.
mother-in-law never questioned why so much money. She used to give. ये लोग क्या करते थे पूरा some plants used to not even be 6 months old. They used to
Uh-huh.
just remove everything, chop the roots, okay, and वो मिट्टी फेंक देते थे and they used to treat it like the mask which we have used during COVID. कि oh that
Mhm.
soil, dead soil, don't touch it, don't touch it. Okay,
Oh my
and
God.
I used to have that belief that yeah maybe the soil is dead. I didn't know about all these things, and
Uh-huh.
then new soil every year, new soil every year, new soil. When I
Oh,
actually read about yes, तो जब
business.
मैंने
उनका business है वो.
yes, it is a business and it is high time
Yes.
we own it up and we say yes. Because हम
Yeah.
लोग के पास time नहीं है, they scare us and so we feel okay. So then I realized when I read up and when I actually practiced कि only root bound pots कि अगर आपने pot में एक plant डाला है and the roots have started to come out of the drain hole या फिर
Mhm.
plants have started to wilt, they're not growing well, pests हो गए, or the plant has become too heavy for the pot, and it is more than 18 months that you have planted the pot, only then you need to repot it.
Okay.
So you remove when the roots are too much and there is fight for space, minerals, water, everything. You remove it, you trim the roots, and then you see whether
Mhm.
the soil quality आपको देख के पता चलेगा because the plant maybe is not growing well. So when we don't eat proteins हमारा muscle mass नहीं बढ़ेगा. When we don't eat carbs we don't have energy. So similarly you will see
Mhm.
that the plant is not growing, the plant is not flowering, कुछ problem है. That is when
Mhm.
you remove the soil. Okay, you don't have to throw that old soil. You can keep it aside. I'm not saying कि
Mhm.
repotting करते वक्त use that same soil. No, keep it aside. You don't have to throw it away. So जैसे मुझे अगर COVID हो गया है, I have suffered twice from COVID. तो मुझे isolate करेंगे, right? And once
Yes.
I'm fine, they will get me out. Or will they just throw me and bury me and say, हो गया इसका कल्याण? No. So you're supposed to keep the soil on the side. And when you're planting, when you're repotting it, that is when you take good soil,
Mhm.
okay, from the garden. You put organic contents into the soil. You
Okay.
put compost, you put coco peat, you can put, I also put coir, I put moss, I put worm castings. I have a worm bin, I put worm castings, I treat it well, and then I will repotting करूंगी अगर मुझे करना है तो I will do that. What
Uh-huh.
about the soil that you have thrown there? So what you can do is 25 liters के जो buckets होते हैं plastic के, you
Mhm.
fill all that soil in the 25 liters bucket. You
Mhm.
keep it in a shady place, not exactly shady, but not even in extreme sunlight. इसको solarization कहते हैं. I have not tried it before because I really didn't need to. तो
Uh-huh.
अभी मुझे पता चलेगा. But keep it in the sunlight for some time. कुछ लोग उसको bake करते हैं. Sometimes they microwave it at a high temperature.
Okay.
And that is when they believe that अगर उसमें कोई पेस्ट है, कोई फंगस है, कोई मोल्ड है, तो वो निकल जाएंगे.
Uh-huh.
But keeping it for 4 to 6 weeks in sunlight, keeping it in that bucket or a barrel that I told you, or black color के plastic bags, heat की
Mhm.
वजह से whatever you have problems लगता है कि pest है या whatever है, वो मर
Mhm.
जाएंगे. Now you
Yeah.
have to add organic content to it. तो जैसे ही
Okay.
4 to 6 weeks complete हो जाएंगे, you add organic content to it. You add
Okay.
compost, you add वर्मी castings, you add cow dung, सब add करो, mix करो अच्छे से, use that soil again.
Uh-huh.
This is my idea of repotting. I think when if you put this up on social media, many people will say that purani soil cannot be used for repotting. But I
Again.
have never believed, I have never thrown the soil which I have discarded.
Okay.
अभी after repotting there's something called as repotting shock. जैसे suppose I'm living in this house, for some reasons I have to shift in a new house or I go to a hostel. तो थोड़ा सा
Hmm.
I will feel bad or I'll go into a shock. तो वो होता
Yeah.
है कभी कभी plants में yellow हो जाते हैं, they wilt, all that things happen, but it is normal. Because
Yes.
you have touched the roots, right? तो वो
Yeah.
ठीक हो जाएगा. But just because नया soil है and the gardener has no other work, you don't need to repot it. If you see some signs of a disease, you see yellowing, you see that the plant is not growing, or it is more than 18 months, या फिर root bound. You take that pot, you will see drain के holes के through roots निकले जा रहे हैं. So they are actually trying
Hmm.
to come out of that. Only
Yeah.
then you can do repotting. Otherwise, please do not
Mhm.
throw that soil away. You can revive that same soil.
Yeah, it's all about understanding. All this time, we have understood that plants are living, but
Yeah.
soil is also a living
Yes.
element. We need to
Yes.
understand that, and we need to treat it the way you
Like,
said कि कपड़ों की तरह उनको cover करना है, and
yes.
we have to treat it as a living being. बीमार हो तो
Yes.
फेंकना नहीं है. Treat it, bring it
Yeah.
back.
Treat it. Yeah.
So we need to understand that वो concept clear हो जाएगा, तो then we'll be able to you know treat it more properly.
Yes. Yes.
So that was amazing. That was the last question for today, Aarti. Thank you so much for the detailed explanation. मन तो कर रहा है आपसे बातें करते रहें, but
Right.
we are short of time.
Yeah.
So next time, surely we would love to see your soil and your
Yes.
compost bins and
Yes.
how you are preparing all that and your natural garden.
Yes. Definitely.
Definitely. Since it was a short session this time, it was lovely listening to you. But practical hum next time dekhenge. And I would like
Yes.
to thank all our viewers for joining us today. And I'm sure you must have learned a lot and enjoyed this session as much as I did.
Right.
And
Me too.
once again, I would like to remind you, Aarti ji ka Instagram handle hai Amulyaboondh. Please check out her page. There's lots and lots of golden information there, and you'll love to see her son doing it. It's amazing to watch her page. It's full of activity and fun.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll
Thank
take a
you.
leave at this note, Aarti. Thank
Yes.
you so
Have a
much
nice
for
day.
giving us your valuable time.
Not at all.
Really grateful.
Yes. I want to say one last thing. I think
Sure,
when the
sure.
nature gives us so much and when the soil gives us so much and does not count about it, that I did this for you, I did this for you, I don't think we should be saying that you gave us your time as long
Oh,
as it's useful to somebody.
oh,
I
thank
feel
you
that
so
is
much.
the
That's
thing.
really sweet of you.
Yeah.
Very kind of you. Thank you so much.
See you.
Okay. See you. Bye bye.